Lots of people apparently were eagerly awaiting this morning's job numbers. And even after we get the jobs numbers, we're still trying to get a proper read on this economy. Here now to give us his takeaway is National Urban League CEO Marc Morial, also the former mayor of New Orleans, where apparently there's like some big football game on Sunday. We'll get to that, Marc. But from where you sit, how do you see the American economy?
Well, yeah, great to be with you. This jobs report is a continuation of a trend of continuing job creation, and it's sort of the punctuation point on the previous administration and the starting point for how the jobs market will perform for the next administration on its watch. My main concern now is that a combination of tariffs and over the horizon extreme fiscal budget cuts could be recessionary. On one hand, tariffs will introduce inflation because the way they have been talked about and the way they were employed for really 24 hours was as an across-the-board blunt instrument, not a strategic rifle shot with respect to some industries, which is the type of tariffs I could support. But that blunt instrument, which creates volatility and political uncertainty, along with the possibility of massive layoffs at the federal government level, I think will continue to create volatility and uncertainty. Here's what we have. We have a stable economy, and I think policymakers should look at a do no harm approach, as opposed to tariffs, extreme fiscal cuts, which do nothing but create what both Wall Street and Main Street do not want, and that is uncertainty. That's how I see it, and I think we're going to have to continue to measure what happens going into the future.
But you'd rate the overall economy still as pretty good.
It's good. Look, I mean, compared to where we were 4 years ago or 5 years ago, you've got job growth, you've got inflation, not where we want it, but far in a better place than it was. So you've got to, if you're managing fiscal policy or monetary policy, you've got to say, let's do no harm. Let's do no harm and try to continue this trend of growth and declining unemployment and reductions in inflation. So I think that's what's important. And I'm concerned that some of these public policy measures, extreme fiscal cuts, tariffs, could create just a round of uncertainty and volatility and really damage the economy. Look, the retaliatory
we got to wait,
tariff,
but we don't. We have to. But I will say, Marc, we have to. I know. Listen, I'm in D.C. There's a lot of concern here. Everybody's jumpy, scared, nervous. They don't want to lose their jobs. They don't want their friends to lose their jobs or neighbors. But are we kind of? Should we wait and see what happens first? The tariffs are delayed. We don't know, and I hope everything will be okay. Maybe it could be worse than I expect. I don't know. But don't we need to wait and see what happens? It's almost like a preemptive panic.
I think it was interesting that the administration issued these tariffs and within 24 hours completely backed off. And of course, they said, well, we leveraged it for some things. But in truth and in fact, I think they tested the waters and found that the markets were not going to react favorably. Hopefully, they've learned that across the board tariffs is not a smart way to do this. But what we have is now Canada and China and Mexico and other countries taking retaliatory action. And that represents a trade war. So waiting to see, I understand. But what leaders should do is communicate much more clearly where they are going. We all want some certainty. Mm-hmm. We all want some expectations. And right now, what we've got is a whole lot of uncertainty.
Hopefully we'll get more certainty. I know certainly we're going to have a big football game in your hometown on Sunday. No time for that, but Marc, let's hope we'll get some certain...
I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to disrupt this trend. I love Andy Reid. I love Kansas City, but I got to go with the Philadelphia Eagles in this one.
Marc Morial is going with the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Kansas City State Farms.